Hi guys, hope you're well. Happy Saturday, weekend's here. Who found during lockdown that weekends ceased to exist, didn't they? I suppose if you were still working on the front line, they didn't, but for everybody that was at home, it was the days sort of melded into one. Um, anyway, it's a lovely day here. I'm looking a little windswept. I had the dogs out before. It's very cold, but I had my roots done yesterday. Isn't it lovely? Um, yeah, and my curls have dropped out a bit. So never mind. So I've got a brew anyway. Bear with. So I hope you're all having a lovely Saturday. Hope everybody's well. A few things to talk about today. First thing is, and one of the things I'm very passionate about, is the menopause. Going through it myself. What a wonderful invention it is. You know, God gave us ladies periods and then he decided to give us the menopause. I say he because obviously a woman wouldn't have done that to another woman. So yeah, my own experiences, I'm not entirely sure when I started the menopause because I was taking the mini pill for years, which I only came off 2 years ago. And then I was definitely on the menopause because everything had stopped. But I think I was perimenopausal for a few years before I'd started having the hot flushes. What a lovely invention those are as well. Your own internal central heating system. The only problem is the control panel is bust and you can't turn the damn thing off. Anyway, so I'm looking at other people's experiences. Touch wood. Mine hasn't been too bad really. Hot flushes, maybe affected my sleep, but I'm not a brilliant sleeper anyway. Can't say it's affected my joints because I already have bad joints. But the point of talking about it is today is all the things that nobody tells you about. It's like, like when you're pregnant, everybody's telling you about pregnancy. Everybody's giving you advice of what to expect, and everybody's telling you the terrible birth stories and all that business. But nobody really talks about menopause. I don't know whether it's changed now, but in sex education when I was at school, you had a very nervous, usually like social studies teacher or somebody stood at the front. A lot of this going on and passing out of handsheets and sheets, and that was about it really. And the menopause was never mentioned. So, I mean, I suppose a lot of people go off their own mum's experiences and what have you. And I remember asking my grandma, and she said the menopause just happened and she never really had any symptoms and all this business. I can't ask my own mum because she's not with us anymore anyway, but she'd had a hysterectomy at 40. So, there was no comparison she could give me. So the things that I have found myself from my own experience that I will pass on to ladies is I've written down a few. Number 1, your waistline. Do not expect to have a waistline anymore once you've gone through the menopause. You wake up one morning and you've gone from having a waistline to looking like a weeble. For those of people that are my age, weebles wobble but they don't fall down. You suddenly develop this bit around the middle that's never been there. I mean, I've had periods in my life where I've weighed 7 stone, literally, and I've been bigger, like I am at the moment, but nobody told me about this bit around your waist. And it just appears. You don't exercise any less. You don't eat any more. Nothing. It just appears. And getting rid of it, oh my God. I've always been able to, put on some weight and gone, right, okay. Need to ditch the nice food and the alcohol. But I can do it. I've always lost weight. Can I shift this? Can I heckers like? So that's one thing. Another thing, grey hairs. I mean, we get grey hairs when we get older anyway. But I'm talking about grey hairs everywhere. Everywhere. Least said about that, the better. Yeah. Temperature control is a thing of the past. I go to bed at night and I will get into bed and I'll have to get up and open a window. It's blowing a gale in the bedroom, but I'm absolutely... And then the next minute I'm freezing cold. Shut the window, get under the covers. Another minute, boiling hot again, throw the covers off, open the window again. And this goes on throughout the night. The covers are on and off, on and off, on and off. So yes, that's a nice part as well. Permanently grumpy is another one. Just for no reason. I think that comes under the heading as well of mood swings. Like they talk, teenagers have mood swings. And I would say menopause mood swings are akin to that, because there's no rhyme or reason for them. You can open the fridge and suddenly feel extremely angry about the contents of the fridge. The fridge hasn't done anything. It's not the fridge's fault. Yeah, just weird. And I have to actually sort of give myself a good talking to. Say, right, stop getting your knickers in a twist. There's nothing you can do about it. Calm down. But then the next minute, you're tripping around like a spring lamb, like everything in the world is wonderful and, spreading stardust and unicorns and rainbows and what have you. Very strange. Very strange. Nobody tells you about that. And the last thing is sex. What's sex? You remember I'm not on HRT either. So, it could be to do with that. I tried to take HRT. There is a massive shortfall of HRT in this country. There's several different reasons that have been given out as to why, like when COVID started, a lot of it is manufactured in China and they weren't exporting anything. I don't know how true that is. Another one, which sounds a bit like a conspiracy theory to me, is it's all linked to Brexit and prices and what have you. I don't know. But anyway, there's this massive problem getting hold of HRT. And I suppose I have to say, if menopause was a male problem, I could virtually guarantee that HRT, there would be no lack of it at all. But there is. So when I eventually got this HRT, this is another thing they don't tell you about in menopause as well. I thought the HRT was going to be the be all and end all. I was going to stop having the hot flushes. I would stop, everything would be back to normal. And also I'd be all glowy and my hair would be shiny. I've got quite shiny hair actually. But this was going to be the answer to all my problems. No. I have something called restless leg syndrome, which is horrendous. I won't explain it, but Google it. Feel free to Google it. And it stops me sleeping at night when I have an attack. I can not have an attack for months and months, and then all of a sudden, for a couple of months, restless leg. Anyway, I started taking the HRT and my restless leg went off the scale. It was horrendous. And I thought, I wonder if it's the HRT. So I stopped taking it, gone. Just like as soon as I stopped taking it. And so I'm sure it wasn't a coincidence. But yeah, that's another thing they don't tell you. HRT isn't right for everyone. And I could have gone on and tried different ones till I found one that suited me. But like I say, there's such a shortage at the moment that I thought, oh, I'll just put up with it like you do. Anyway, that's the menopause. If anybody wants to share their experiences, comment in the box below. Please press the thumbs up button below. That'd be great. Anything that you like on here, if you press the thumbs up button, that'd be brilliant. The next thing I want to talk about, which is mental health related, which is very, which I'm going to be banging on about a lot. I'm just reading at the moment. I love reading. I don't know where I'd be without a book, although I have a Kindle mainly now. But I went in Waterstones the other week and I've not been in for ages and ages. So when I go in, I like to buy an actual book because I don't want to lose shops like Waterstones. I love going in there. I love having a browse, sitting down, having a little read, getting a coffee and what have you. It's wonderful. The only reason I have a Kindle is because I just had so many books in the house. I read voraciously, and it was just getting ridiculous. So I got a Kindle. But like I say, I still like to buy books. So when I was in last week, I bought this one, which is Ruby Wax's new book, and Now for the Good News, To the Future with Love. I'm sure most of you know Ruby Wax is a comedian and an author and a mental health campaigner, etc. She's an OBE for services to mental health, and she went to Oxford a few years ago and did a master in mindfulness cognitive behaviour, which came about because of her own struggles with her own mental health, which are well documented, which she's talked about a lot actually. She's fabulous. I love her to bits. And her books are brilliant. The books that she's written before about mindfulness, I would recommend as a really good read. If you've never done mindfulness, if you're interested in finding out more, her books are really good because they're written in language that everybody can understand. They're not sciencey books. There is science in there, and the science of the brain and what have you, which is brilliant. But they are really good books, and a lot of her humour comes through as well. She actually started a charity a few years ago called the Frazzled Cafe, which you can find the site online, and if you join up, it doesn't cost anything. It's a safe space for people who are struggling with their mental health to get together, to chat. They used to have them in actual cafes, in Marks and Spencer's around the country. There's one not far from me, but obviously that's had to stop at the moment. So they've been doing them online. And Ruby herself comes on. She tends to come on once or twice a week. I was doing mindfulness exercises with her the other week. So I'd recommend to check that out. But this book is, she says, this is my new mission, to share the green shoots of hope peeping through the soil of civilization. Literacy is at an all-time high. World hunger is likely to be eradicated this century. Technological improvements are saving lives, just to scratch the surface. I've talked to everyone from leaders to scientists to tech geniuses. I've done research and practiced what I preach, and my conclusion is, behind the clouds, the sun still shines. So this book, she started writing this book 2 years ago, but it couldn't have come out at a better time, really, because of the pandemic that we're in at the moment, which I'm actually not gonna. I'm gonna try and not talk about it on here because I think there's enough of it everywhere else. But this is a really good book because it's a really optimistic book. It's a really hopeful book. She's gone around the world, like she says, and there's different chapters in it, like food and technology and world savers. So she's gone out and she's found all the positive stories out there, which I think we all need at the moment. And one section that really rang a bell with me was the section about education. I used to work in primary education a few years ago. I did for 10 years. And it was around the time that I started practicing mindfulness myself. And I really wanted to see it being brought into school because I think it's the most helpful thing for children. Anyway, she said she's visited a state school in the UK that is beyond a green shoot. It's a fully thriving tree. Reach 2 is a radically new type of school. It's partnered with Mindfulness in Schools, which is an organisation. Half the kids come from deprived backgrounds, and the idea, besides teaching them formal education, is to grow these kids into great human beings, discovering who they are, what their responsibility is to the world, and how to show compassion to themselves and others. So basically teaching them life skills, teaching them how to be humans, how to be compassionate beings, which, if they're not getting that at home, and a lot of kids aren't these days. When I worked in teaching, we had the full gamut of backgrounds of children, from very well off, very middle class, households, to very, very deprived, children in care, what were called looked after children, so they might have been in foster care or living with another relative because they couldn't live with their parents for some reason. Children with English as a second language, we had some Polish kids and kids who had escaped the war in Syria. So a whole gamut. I mean, that's not to say those children aren't loved at all, but there's just such a huge range of backgrounds. So if they're not getting that teaching at home, that how to be human teaching at home, then this school is teaching them in school. It says Reach 2 promises to give kids 11 positive experiences before they turn 11. It's the kids' choice what those are. For example, they could visit a foreign country, they could cook a meal from vegetables that they grew themselves, climb a mountain, sleep under the stars, paddle down a river, things they could never do in their normal lives. They are also challenged to do 10 good deeds a day. So isn't that lovely? That's teaching them to think about what they're doing, to take responsibility for what they're doing, and to look out of themselves, to be in the now, not to be introspective, to realise that there is a world out there. And kids with computers and everything these days, I think a lot of them are missing out on that human interaction. So this bit really got me. I did actually have a little lump in my throat. It said, they are all assigned a buddy to bond with, always pairing an older student with a younger one, helping each other with problems and becoming like a little family, which they might not have at home. They practice listening to each other mindfully, giving each other their full attention so they both feel heard. To teach them to deal with tough situations and to learn to self-reflect. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that fabulous? Just that just the fact of feeling heard. All children want, and a lot of bad behaviour that I saw within the school environment comes from children who are just so frustrated that they are not being heard. So they act out in order to be heard, but then obviously they're getting negative attention. So this will rectify a lot of that, and it says it's going to be rolled out much more across the country, and so I'm going to keep an eye on that. I think that's an absolutely brilliant thing. So that's my read of the week. My watch of the week is it was a Netflix documentary stroke drama called The Social Dilemma. We're all addicted to our phones these days. I hold my hand up, and the difference is, though, I used to work in advertising, marketing, design, and work with social media people, content makers, SEO people, advertising on social platforms, etc., algorithms. So what was said in the programme, I already knew. But to actually sit down and see it there in front of you, I immediately turned all the notifications off on my phone, off the apps, because I'd got to the stage where my phone all day is pinging, or was pinging. So all day I was like, so I thought, right, turning all the notifications off. So I've done that. And it tells you a lot of stuff that I would imagine most people wouldn't know. How they use these algorithms to tailor your experience on platforms like Facebook, like Twitter, like Instagram. So that they can feed you more advertising. Basically, the top and bottom of it is to feed you more advertising. So if you're browsing the web and you see shoes from a certain company, ads will suddenly start appearing for that. If you haven't used your say Facebook platform for a while, and they showed, it was very good actually, because they showed this was where the drama came in. They actually portrayed this through little vignettes of how they feed you this sort of stuff to get you to re-engage with your phone again. And it's, for instance, a friend that you haven't seen for a while, who hasn't appeared in your feed for a while. They might have been posting, but if you haven't interacted with them, if you haven't liked something or made a comment for a while, the algorithm takes them out of your feed and keeps feeding you stuff from people that you are interacting with. But if you haven't been on the platform for a while, all of a sudden you will get a notification saying such a body has posted, as happened with me this morning actually, and it makes you go back on your phone because you've not seen anything from that person for a while, and you might not realise that you haven't seen anything from that person for a while, so it makes you go back on your phone. There were a lot of Silicon Valley whistleblowers as well on the programme, and it was really interesting to see what they had to say, and how much a lot of them were in on at the very beginning of like Twitter, social, Instagram, Facebook, blah blah, and how responsible they feel now for how massive and unregulated, because they are unregulated, these platforms have become, and the effect that it's having on all our mental health, which it is. It is having a massive effect on people's mental health. I watched it, I don't know, last Monday. Sorry, I've got an itch. I watched it on Monday, and I would say I am actually calmer in the last few days since turning off the notifications. I think that has definitely had an effect, and I've also consciously tried to stop picking my phone up every 2 minutes. The first couple of days I sort of allowed myself half an hour at the beginning of the day, half an hour at the end of the day, but now I'm sort of more consciously trying to manage it. So yeah, I would recommend you, if nothing else, you'll turn the notifications off on your phone for it. Anyway, what is next? Oh, garden makeover. I am so excited, I can't tell you. There will now be a little piece that I have recorded coming in. So this is my rather ramshackle shed that is literally falling down. It's held together by a wing and a prayer. I've got this side patio area. I've been growing things all summer, which has been amazing. There's Tilly eating soil. No idea why, but she seems to like eating soil. Must be something lacking in her diet. My broccoli is coming on beautifully. Then I've got this bit here, which is, there used to be a patio here. It was all across the width of the garden. But when I had the conservatory built, in order to do the foundations and everything, the old patio was taken out. So it's just been this gravelly mess for about 15 years. And one of the main problems is the steps, because they are so close to the back of the patio. It's very difficult for me to get up, you know, like with the lawnmower and what have you, and Tilly to jump up, because that bottom step now is terribly high since the old patio was taken out. So that and these beds here are coming out and being pushed back about to where the grass starts now. There will be a new wall there, which will be sleepers, and a new set of steps. And then over here I'm having a raised vegetable patch, and then at the top there's already a little patio, because the top of the garden gets the sun all day long, late in the afternoon, early evening. So there's a new patio going in right the way across there. Sorry, the washing's out, I have to take advantage of that. There's a new greenhouse going in at the top, and this horrible gravelly area will all be laid with lovely like York stone. Is it York stone? I can't remember what I've chosen now. Yeah, so it will finally be all beautiful, and have all my pots out and new flowers in the flower beds. Well, not new, because I'm going to save as many of these as I can. That's my next big job over the weekend. I've got to try and lift all these lovely flowers to try and save them. The roses have been in, oh God, for about 20 years, so I'm hoping they'll come out. If anybody's got any tips, please let me know. So yeah, I'll keep you updated. So that's what's happening with the garden. I am so excited. Mind you, it's coming winter now, isn't it? And won't really be able to take full advantage of it. But it will be nice. It will be nice to look outside and see something that doesn't resemble a bomb site and actually be able to get up the garden steps. So I will keep you posted on that. Well, I'll do little videos of how it's all progressing. Another thing that happened this week is I started college. When we went into lockdown, I had actually resigned from my previous job. And then I couldn't look, well, I could have looked for another job, but we went into lockdown and I thought, actually, do you know, I'm going to make the most of this, have some time off and think and plan what I wanted to do next. As I say, I've worked in education for 10 years, but for 26 years I worked in advertising and marketing and design, and I didn't want to go back to that. But something I've been thinking about for the past few years was to retrain to be a counsellor and work in mental health. So I thought, right, this is my time. This is the perfect opportunity. So I've signed up for the level 2 counselling course, which I started on Thursday this week. So we do one day in college and the rest of the stuff we do at home. And at the moment we can go into college on that one day, unless the rules change, in which case we'll have to do it at home on Zoom, which is fine, it's not a problem. So yeah, I've started that this week, and I was really excited going back to school. Bought a new pencil case, got my little notebook. It's gonna be a long journey. It's 3 years to qualify. So, you know, I may have to do other stuff in the meantime, but that's not a problem. This is the goal. This is what I want to do. I won't qualify till I'm 58, but I'm thinking, do you know what? People work so much longer these days. I think my retirement age to get the state pension is now 67, whereas it used to be 60. So, you know, I'm gonna have to keep on working anyway. But yeah, I'm really excited about that. I'm really looking forward to getting stuck in. Got our student cards this week, so I was immediately on the internet looking for all the student discounts I can get now, which is really exciting. So that was another thing. So I'll keep you posted as to what happens there, what we do. We seem to be a mixed bunch. A wide span of ages and backgrounds and experience and what have you. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting to know everybody. The last thing today is watch the previous videos. You know, I've started getting an art box, which I've ordered online, to try and do some more mindful exercises in past times, instead of being on my phone all the time, you know, to switch off literally and figuratively, and do something else. I've always been a knitter and I've always been an embroiderer. I like to do those, but I've started to experiment with other things. So I did the art by box thing the other week, and I've got another one coming, which is, I've ordered the second one, which is pastels. So I'm going to give that a go when it comes. Typical me, this is something else of the menopause, the mind fog. Your brain doesn't do what you want it to. So I went on the art by box, it's actually, the website is createbybox.com, the other night to order the second box, and ended up reordering the first box. So my daughter now has the first box because I passed it on to her and ordered the second box. So I've also found another one, which is by, it's called Artful. This is really heavy actually. So this is the Artful box. This comes out every 3 months. And if I remember correctly, you subscribe to it, but you don't have to, you can cancel it at any time type of thing. So this first one, I saw this and thought, do you know, I've never even done this at school. And it's lino printing, you know, and having a print background, because, you know, a huge part of my job was buying print. I've always been around the print industry, and it is something that fascinates me. All the men in my family as well worked on the newspapers, so, you know, it's just something that's always been in my life. So I thought, ooh, I'll have a go at that. I've never done this. So you get this really gorgeous book. It's a thick book, and this is all about let's learn liner printing and other stuff. So there's loads of really great content in there. Really interesting people that are working paper craft. This chap here. There's templates to follow. Different examples of stuff that you can lino print. So that's a really good read, and it smells. I have a thing about print and the smell of ink, and it smells, is it just me? It smells really nice. The paper and the inks, it's just me. So you get your little roller and your inks. It's 2 inks. You get a black one and a red one. You get, this is for cutting your lino. So you get all these different nibs, if you can see that, which will give you different sizes and shapes of cuts within the lino. You get, these are your lino, they're like tiles, your little lino tiles. You get 3 of those. But you can cut them up as well. You can make small things. You know, like if you were making cards, like A6 sized cards, you can cut bits off and do your designs on. You know, like Christmas is coming up. This would be brilliant for making Christmas cards. I suspect this is another thing as well. Christmas cards have been dying a death the last few years. I don't know if you've noticed, like, I always get mine in Marks and Spencer's, and the display at Christmas is getting smaller and smaller and smaller every year because people are using social media. They're not sending physical cards. But I think this year will be a boom because of the pandemic. I think it'll make people more nostalgic and want to send cards again. So these will be fabulous. I may even have a go myself. And then you get a pad, which is actually, sorry for the noise. You get a sheet of acetate so that you can trace a design. If it doesn't have to be original. It doesn't have to be an original design. You could see something in a magazine. You could see something on a wallpaper or a greetings card, and you can copy it. And then you transfer that onto your tile, and then you've got a guide for your cutting. And then you've got a big pad of cartridge paper, and it's really thick cartridge paper as well, really good quality. That's A4, and it's 25 sheets, 220 grams. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to having a go at this. So I'm going to hunt round this weekend for some inspiration and have a go, see what it looks like. Might look like a dog's dinner, or I might have found a new creative outlet, but I'll give it a go. So that's it for this video. I've actually got to go in about 10 minutes to have my flu jab. Now, I have a flu jab every year and have done for many, many years because I have asthma. And if you have any chronic condition like that, you don't even have to pay for your flu jab. My doctor's surgery do them, most doctor's surgeries do them. I've gone to Boots the last few years because it was just more convenient for me. I can have it done at the weekend. You can book online and get it done. I would recommend that everybody, whether you have a chronic condition or not, gets a flu jab in the winter. A lot of the time people go, oh, I've got flu, I've got flu. And you haven't, you've just got a really bad cold. If you've ever had proper, real flu, you know about it. The last time I had flu, proper flu, I don't know, my daughter was little at the time, so maybe about 23 years ago, 24 years ago, I was hallucinating. I didn't get out of bed for 2 weeks. I couldn't get out of bed for two weeks. I was poorly for months afterwards. You know, it took me a long time to get over it. And a lot of people say, oh, I won't have it because it makes you poorly. It doesn't make you poorly. The flu virus that they use is dead. It is a dead virus that they inject into you. So it cannot make you poorly. If you happen to feel poorly after having the jab, it's a coincidence. You've caught a cold or you've caught something else or whatever. So please don't let that put you off having a flu jab. It's injected into your body. Your immune system notices, even though it's dead, it notices that it's something there that shouldn't be there. Your immune system sends whatever it sends out, little cells to attach to it, to then make antibodies for it. But it will not give you the flu. The flu injection does not give you the flu. So, I mean, it's up to you. But I would recommend everybody, I think everybody in the country, especially this winter with what's happened, because I think a lot of people, if they catch the flu, are going to think that they've got COVID when they haven't, or they're going to catch COVID and think, oh, it's all right, I've only got a touch of the flu. And I, you know, if you've had the jab, the chances are that you won't get flu. I'm not saying you will never get flu, because another thing that people don't realise is there are hundreds and hundreds of flu viruses, and the flu vaccine is normally made up of the vaccine against the top 3 or 4 strains that the World Health Organization, etc., think are going to be the most prevalent ones this year. So, I mean, some people say, oh, you know, I had the flu, but I'd had the jab. If that's the case, very unfortunately, and it's very few and far between, you may have caught flu, you may have caught one of the strains that hasn't figured in this year's vaccine. But as I say, you know, the good far outweighs the bad with the flu vaccine. So, anyway, after giving you my little sermon, I shall go and have my flu jab, and I will speak to you soon. Take care, everybody.